It's a timely occasion, really, for this gathering of institutions to come together. In many ways, I've always been a great admirer of academia and its ability to convene. At a time like this, there are moments when we all have to come together. An economic impact of COVID-19 can only be solved really through a collaborative, whole-of-society approach. It's a great time to bring different sectors together and find solutions in common. First, collaborative response. Second, collaborative recovery. And finally, collaborative resilience. We are at a critical time in our country. We emerged from 2020 having undergone the rigorous demands of responding to the pandemic. And we enter 2021 with a golden opportunity to build a roadmap for recovery and resilience around the pillars of inclusivity and stakeholder centricity.
When the words leadership and inclusiveness appear together, the first thing that comes to mind is inclusive leadership. The inclusion of the least, the most marginalized in our society. Without exception, it is those in the peripheries of our society.
And of course, we know how difficult it has been, as Jaime and Father Bobby have set forth earlier, so much strife and human suffering in such a short period of time. But it has also seen some notable feats of human cooperation, compassion. Every instance and more, we saw Bayanihan in action. In every instance, there were different organizations and groups working together, collaborating and cooperating. We can survive this pandemic. But for us to emerge stronger and more resilient, we need to start thinking ahead and plant the seeds of our future growth and prosperity today. One of those seeds should have economic self-reliance as one of its fruits.
The discussion here today is to try to find the lessons that we can apply to future crises.
Coco, you said it perfectly. The private-public partnership that has been going on from the very beginning of this pandemic response it's really changed the way I think we view how the private sector and government work.
I'm a big believer in public-private collaboration. And certainly, in times of crisis, such as what happened last year, that certainly highlighted the agility of the private sector to fill in while public sector is still, securing approvals and necessary approvals to move forward. And that's the essence of public-private collaboration.
We needed organization. We needed to pull together the right people and the right resources to get the job done. So we leaned heavily on companies and their particular areas of expertise to be able to solve the problems.
We really have to invest in the sort of community-based infrastructure that our neighboring countries have. We have to work with the private sector. We have to learn from the private sector, from best practices, and I think that's the only way forward here.
I'm very glad that this morning's webinar was able to shed light on the many issues facing our nation today, as well as the importance of coordination and partnership between the public and private sectors in our path moving forward. May the Filipino spirit of Bayanihan inspire us to pursue closer partnerships with one another to ensure a more resilient, more inclusive, and better economy and country.
COVID-19 crisis came with no playbook, and we just have to build the rules as we go along. Unfortunately, sometimes it's a painful trial and error process, but it's encouraging to see how, despite our own challenges, dealing with our own problems in our own backyards, that there's this general sense that everyone's willing to collaborate and to help each other. A great reminder that at the end of the day, we're all playing for the same team.